Hello and welcome to my Task 3 presentation. For this task, it was important for me to consider a guest who has inspired me with career-driven passion and value-based professionalism. Looking no further, I interviewed my dad, Peter Murphy. Although our career prospects are dissimilar, parallels between our industries can be observed, and we talked through some of that in our conversation. My dad, Peter, works at the Australian Nuclear Science and Technology Organisation, also known as ANSTO, as a radioactive waste technician in its nuclear precinct, managing a team that works to manage radioactive waste from Australia's only nuclear reactor. Working in hospitals and travelling the world to find better outcomes for managing nuclear waste, Peter has been able to balance at-home life and his career, prioritising leisure and family life as well as the safety and well-being of colleagues in highly hazardous work environments.
So I completed my school certificate in 1987. And then I embarked on an apprenticeship in pattern making engineering, which I did through a plastics company that went for 4 years. I left there and went and joined Kembler, which is a copper tube rod and wire manufacturing business. I got great education at but I worked from an operator. I went into quality control, so I became a quality inspector. And then I finished up as a team leader of 30 people at at ANSTO, same thing. I started in a core group of 7, so we were there for the initial start-up of the reactor. So there was only a small limited number of us in our role. In that role, then we eventuated to actually, the 7 of us had our own team of 3 or 4 per crew, and we worked like that for 10 years. And at Waste Management, I've been the supervisor of the remote handling waste group, which is an intermediate level waste, and I've also been the acting supervisor for contact handling waste.
You mentioned there that there were some pretty drastic changes in your career. Was there a specific moment or turning point you've encountered in your working life?
One was at I loved It was one of the best places I've ever worked, but the business was suffering because it couldn't compete with imports, and it was a business situation. It wasn't a people situation or what they were producing out of there. It was a business situation, and I took a voluntary redundancy from there because I felt my employment wasn't secure enough. I had a young family and I didn't want to be looking for a job and in that situation. So that was one turning point. I was lucky enough that I teed it up at the same time that I was looking for employment. I found employment at ANSTO, and I got a redundancy at the same time, which benefited my family as well because I got paid out a little bit of money and got me on the front foot as a person. I think AI is huge. Even in that science industry, there's the AI side of things is where if we find an isotope, normally we used to have to go and look at the periodical table and work out how long the decay time was, and now we've got a periodical table on our phone or in an app, which is instantaneously. So I think life will be safer at ANSTO with AI and with generated sort of support that way. Within myself, I've got 10 years to go, and I think I'll outlast AI, hopefully. But I embrace it too. I embrace technology. I like it. It makes my life easy. I don't, go against it. But
As Peter recalled stories of turning points and moments of tension in his working life, key values were mentioned that reflected him as a person and how he reacted to such challenges. This reflects Michael White's absent but implicit theory that the stories of life lie beyond the problem story.
I'll go back to another story I always tell, but when I started I was 21, 22. There was a lot of Macedonian immigrants there, and a lot of them couldn't speak, or they could speak broken sort of English, but they're written in English and their reading of English was very limited. So they used to bring all their stuff in to me, and I'd read it for them and fill out paperwork for them and sign it and things like that. And in return, I was the best operator in the whole place because they showed me every little secret. They knew how to, make copper tube to the, perfect scenario, and taught me how machines worked and the rest of it. So that was one of my most enjoyable experiences there. I think the biggest thing is for, say, someone that is educated to first start their first employment isn't to think that they can come in and start at the top. They should try and think, well, I'll start at the bottom and learn the process. Every process is different, and the people that have been doing the process for a long time are the most knowledgeable.
Peter has embarked on an inspiring work journey, marked by continuous learning and growth over the years. He has not only cultivated his personal values, but has remained steadfast in upholding them. His commitment to values such as empathy, family, and the rights and safety of his colleagues remain unwavering and continues to influence his working and personal life now and into the future.